Fire. I don't know about you, but I love a good fire. It has a lot of ambiance. It gives off heat. And today I'm not going to be lighting a fire with a lighter, but I'm going to be lighting a fire with a paintbrush. We're going to be working on this painting here of the lion and the soldier in this setting of a forest fire, as the line depicting Jesus, the Lion of Judah, leads this soldier out through a conflagration, through a huge forest fire, which symbolizes problems, trials, difficulties in our life. And the soldier, of course, shows up for battle, but he's perplexed. He doesn't know which way to turn. And the Lion of Judah knows the way, and he also fights his battles for him. And I'm going to be specifically showing you how to paint flames today. That's where I'm at in this painting. I'm going to put in some flames going on the trees to really get a little layer of dimension. I've got those flames down below, but we've got to get some flames going up onto the trees, and I think that's going to give us a little more realism. So before I begin on this project, let me open up with a word of prayer, and then we'll dive right into the painting process. So Father, I ask a blessing on this painting session. I pray you'd help me to be able to demonstrate how to paint flames, and it would be beneficial for the students watching, guide every brushstroke. Father, thank you for the skills you've given us to be able to paint, and thank you, Lord, that you are in control and you're the master artist, and you love us and you enable us to paint beautiful portraits and pictures to glorify you and to beautify the world around us. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so I've got some of the usual colors here on my palette, raw umber dark, burnt sienna, raw sienna, phthalo blue, ultramarine blue. I had a hot pink, but that was for a different painting project. Alizarin crimson, naphtha red, organic orange, Indian yellow, titanium white, and some matte medium. Let's put down a little bit of fresh matte medium and make sure my palette's enough of that. And I've got my reference photo, so that is going to give me a little more information so I can be able to get those flames to look realistic. I always encourage you to have plenty of reference material for your paintings. Just make sure you don't copy it outright. Just use it as inspiration. So I want to get those flames looking like they're kind of curling upward, and you want to get kind of a almost gaseous feel to them, because we have to remember what flames are, and flames really are unburned particles, in this case wood, that's being illuminated by hot gases rising up. So it's basically smoke that's being illuminated by all the heat. We want to be able to capture this here. All right, so I'm going to start with titanium white because I know it's got to be lighter than the background. And then I'm going to mix just a little bit of Indian yellow in, and also a smaller amount of organic orange. Okay, let's get that. Yeah, a little bit of organic orange in there. So want to make a nice rich saturated color. We'll start with that as a base. Now you can do this with the glazing technique. A lot of people think that the glazing technique only goes dark on light, but no, you can do light on dark as well. It's not what we would traditionally think of as glazing, but it's necessary at times. So which tree do I want to give this flame to? I think I'll put it onto this one here, and we'll have a little bit of flame rising up. So we want it to look like it's natural, and it should kind of go along the edge of it. And we have a pocket that maybe is a little bit thicker, and again we're trying to get that gaseous feel to it, so a little bit of curvature looks good, rather than making the flames look sharp like a lot of people think flames are, very straight out. Try to get more of a curve to it. Think of like water and waves and that kind of thing. Very fluid. And there's maybe an area where it skips a little bit, and then it maybe projects out. you know, like that. Excuse me. And then we have another little area right there where it maybe skips again, and try to get these areas where they skip to not be too patterned. There'll be a temptation to have them all kind of the same distance from each other. We want to avoid that. So here we have the flames kind of on the back side of it, you know, and that would show that the fire is in, you know, the distance, and it's basically burning the side of the tree that we can't see. And we'll have this pattern running on the other side. Let's just zoom this camera in a little bit. So we'll have this pattern on the opposite side where it skips. All right, so we have a skip right there, and then put the flame on the other side. Again, just to get that random feel. But let's have one side be more dominant than the other. And you're always wanting to overcome the tendency to pattern everything. So I think that looks kind of nice as a start. Now this is just one layer, and then we will go over this with more layers to give it a little bit of nuance. But yeah, and let's add a little bit of flame here. And we want to have just a little more flame on this side. I don't know. This is probably good. I'll just have one little bit right up here on the top. I don't want that rising up too high. So again, we want a little bit thicker on the bottom. Some more curly cues and that kind of thing on the bottom. We have to remember how flames are. They kind of have little spots where they intersect and bubble out and that kind of thing. So just even putting a couple of those little deviances in there would be good, or deviations, I should say. Okay, so we don't want to have just one tree that's got flames on it. There should be more than one. So we can maybe add that to another tree. We could have the fire perhaps hitting the opposite side of a tree. So it could be rising up like this. Let's just get the color a little bit darker. Let's add a little more organic orange and Indian yellow. Let's get a little more darkness to it. Okay, and then so we'll have this. And go, that's too much, too saturated. So the color was off. Got to go just a little lighter again and get that sweet spot. And add a little more yellow. Okay, this might be it. See, that color is just too strong. That might be better. This color is not going to work either. That also is a little too vivid. It's not quite matching. Let's just wipe this off. You have to try a few times. So I'm going to add a little more white and desaturate it a bit. So getting that correct temperature is good. And you know what I'm looking for is something that kind of matches the rest of the flame here. That's going to be better. And I can glaze over it to get it to match better. Okay, so we'll get something kind of on the other side. And I'm going to pull up a different picture. Get a different idea. Have the flame kind of wrapping around on this other side, like that. And I'll show you the picture I'm pulling from. This is an image I'm looking from right here, just to kind of get an idea of what those flames could look like. So I don't know if you can see that very well. Zoom in a little bit more. See how the flames kind of come this way and then up. So I'm trying to get something like that, just to angle that out more. All right, so We have the flames kind of shooting over, and it doesn't have to be super, super detailed. We can simplify it a little bit more than what's in the reference photo. I have it kind of wrapping up around the edge here again. Just imagine, you know, the flames kind of doing their thing and going around the wood. That gives the fire a little immediacy to have some flames going up like that. Now, I don't know how many of these we need. We don't want to overdo it and have too many. You can see everything looks at a distance, but maybe we want to have a couple flames shooting up a bit higher. I don't know. Again, I don't want to overdo this effect, but maybe I want to have, you know, one more tree, I don't know, somewhere over here, or even have one that's way in the distance and just suggest that it's burning by putting in the flames and not really showing the shape of the tree as much. That's something we can do as well. You know, just have maybe a little bit of the outline of it silhouetted. That can give us a little bit of a nice effect too, and that can have more of a simple shape. We can have a couple of skips on it, so it would look something like this. Yeah, that really does give that forest fire more immediacy. I just want to have, let's see, a little bit of a suggestion of some flames going up higher. Maybe we've got, you know, some branches or something that caught. A little bit of flame right up here going on this one. I don't know. You know, maybe I'll just have a little bit. That might be too much right there. I'm going to wipe that off. Just going to really make that faint. Just the slightest little flame on there. I don't want to overdo it. But let's get a flame going on the other side over here. And we'll make that one a little bit more red. So let's just add a little bit of organic orange. It's really nice, bright red-orange color. And we'll just add that to our mixture, swirl that around. Now I want you to see what this color looks like independent of the painting. So here's what it looks like when I put this on my white card, and you can see some of the translucency, but it's got quite a bit of opacity because it does have some white mixed in. We need that white, but we also need some translucency to make it apply smoothly into the painting. So we've got, you know, these little areas here, and maybe I want to have just a little bit of flame That's going to be too strong. Let's tone that down. See, you have to go a lot darker. I'm going to add more organic orange and then some matte medium to kind of thin this out even more. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Compare it. It's a little darker, a little more transparent, as you can see the line through it more. Maybe that color will work better. You generally have to go to a more reddish color as you're going, you know, away from the intensity. The more bright and intense the flames, the more yellow. The more dark they are in value, the more red. So I'll just suggest maybe in the middle of these two branches, we've got something kind of burning. Maybe we want the level of this to be just a little lower too. Bring it a little bit lower. And we'll have maybe a little flame that's kind of going across on the top. And just play around with it and see what you like. But I mean, the main thing is to have these patterns look random. And notice the brush strokes I'm using, very short, choppy brush strokes, just dabbing the surface. And then I'll maybe have a little bit of a flame going on this side too. It's like it's just catching this tree here, maybe on the opposite side. Just starting to catch that one. We want to make sure we have some on the opposite side too, because if it's burning on one side, most likely it's going to be also hitting the other side as well. Maybe, let's just move this camera down so we can catch it. Maybe we're going to have a little bit of a flame that's larger right here. And if you have a little break in there again, that could look good. So let's give it a little bit of a break. Trying to get these flames to look as random as possible. Something that kind of shoots out a bit at the bottom. Maybe have a flame that just kind of breaks away from hugging so tightly against the wood and comes out with a little tongue like that. That might look good. I'm trying to smooth this paint out so we don't have too much visual texture, and that takes a lot of work to get that just kind of at the right consistency. And you want your paint to be really smooth and have a really nice fluid consistency. So be sure to spray your palette with a little mist of water and get it to the consistency of warm honey. Just trying to get the right shape, and you kind of have to play with it and see what looks good. Okay, so I think that's looking pretty nice. You know, just getting these shapes in like this, and I want to just re-emphasize this shape right here. Get a really bright flame. I'm going to take titanium white, a little bit of Indian yellow. Just try to get a really bright flame in here. Right in there. Like we have something that's just almost all the way illuminated. Try to have those flames look like they're crossing over, you know, the tree a little bit. Maybe have these flames kind of mix together and intersect and create a little negative space. That can look nice too. Look a little more believable. Get the colors kind of dancing in between. Let's put this brighter yellow over that original flame. We'll get a brighter spot on it. That can look nice too. And then we can use this opportunity to get a little detail on some of these other flames. I want to go to my original reference photo. See if there's any kind of nuances I can add to the flames in here. And flames have a very organic shape. Okay, and I think we're pretty close to being done on this. I just want to add maybe a little nuance up at the top there. And I'll need to glaze over it a bit more. But it gives you an idea. Like with these flames here, you can layer up on that. Maybe I can show you that really quick. You can just go with a slightly lighter version of the color. We'll kind of mix these two together. Here's what it looks like on our white card. And then we can take that, now that we have a base layer, and we can add a little hot spot in a few areas. And that might be too bright. You have to make sure it's just a little brighter. Okay, I'm going to mix this, be something a little less bright. Here it is on our white card, and then soften that up a bit. But let's just kind of get a couple of spots on here that are brighter, especially towards the base where the flames will be a little stronger. Just, again, creating that kind of random shape. Okay, and then we'll have a little hot spot up here. It's just a bit brighter. Hot spot there on the other side. See how that just really looks really convincing. Skip an area and have it brighter. This one maybe have just a couple of hot spots. And we can go over that. We can glaze it, soften it up, and, you know, do all kinds of things. Okay. that's good. I'm going to stop off right here. Yep, I'm going to stop off right here, and we'll probably have to do a little more nuance with these, but it gives you an idea of what you can do. And I don't know if I want to add maybe a little bit of flame, you know, on this other side, but again, I don't want to overdo it, so I might just stick with, you know, flame going up here a little bit, because it's good to not overdo it and take the same pattern. See, we'll be tempted to take the same pattern and run it all the way across and add it to almost every tree, but you have to use a little restraint and make sure that you don't overdo that, but just have this really cool effect in a few areas. Like even with this, I don't know if I overdid it by having, you know, those flames in there or not. I do like how they look though. I might subdue them a bit and just tone them down. But overall, I like the effect. It's cool. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful, and you're just painting along, you know, seeing the process. And I'm not really editing these videos. I'm just showing you how it works as I paint, so you can kind of follow along for the ride. And if I, you know, have to adjust some things, well, you know, you'll probably see that in a future video. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and check out my online school at realisticacrylic.com. I also have several tips, tutorials, free videos, and classes there for you, where you can learn how to paint portraits, illustrations, and use the acrylic glazing technique to add visual intensity to your paintings. So I'm thankful that you took this time here with me to watch over my shoulder as I paint, and hopefully it's been beneficial for you. I'm looking forward to sharing more videos with you in the future. All right, so God bless, take care, and we'll talk to you soon.